Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Ain't That Something? And if this is your first time tuning in, thank you for stopping by and hearing out the podcast and the episode today. My name is Eve, and we're going to dive into today's topic, which is a reflection of last year and just how grateful I am of this year and how my journey has come to this point. And if you're curious of what journey that is, and that journey was my journey with fibroids. So a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, I was diagnosed, or it was discovered that I had fibroids. And so within the last 2 years, it has definitely been a journey of trying to get my body back regulated and to a place that ultimately, if I decide to have any more children, my body will be healthy and ready for that. So I wanted to reflect on my journey. And I've said journey like 50 times now, but I wanted to reflect on just what this year looked like with the recovery, with the fibroid embolization procedure. Now, if you recall, last year I did do a couple of episodes in regards to just how fibroids in women of color is not fully addressed and dealt with in, I think, my opinion, the best way. A lot of doctors try to manipulate and coerce women into doing hysterectomies and partial hysterectomies and such, versus other alternative options. And my story literally fell into that. I had received a myomectomy the year before in 2024 after finding out that I did have fibroids. My doctor was very adamant about just doing a hysterectomy. He was like, you wouldn't have to worry about anything anymore. You wouldn't have any more periods. And I was just kind of like, well, is my uterus like a problem, or is it just the fibroids that are there? Like, can we just remove the fibroids and I still be fine? Because, I may sound crazy, but I have not closed the door to having more children. Although I have one child, and she is now an adult child, I am still very open to having children. Now, if that is not in the Lord's will, then okay, no problem. But I didn't want to shut the factory down if there was really no need to do so. So fast forward, we do the procedure, and the doctor reveals to me that I had so many fibroids. He removed 8 of them that he felt were the most intense and caused the most problems that I was, enduring with my symptoms. However, him removing those 8, he didn't really inform me how many fibroids in total I had, nor did he tell me how many he left in. And I was still having the same symptoms. There was no progression. There was no relief of what I was experiencing. So, his suggestion was that I took this medicine, a daily pill, to suppress the bleeding and the symptoms that I was having. However, I was like, is this going to fix the problem? Or are we just like, I'm going to be on this for the rest of my life? And he was ultimately like, yeah, you're going to be on that until you decide to get a hysterectomy. So I wasn't down for that. Didn't want to do that. And I looked into other opportunities, and I did the embolization. Now, if you don't know what the embolization is, it's basically a procedure that is non-invasive. It's a little small incision that they do in your wrist, where they submit a catheter that goes through your main arteries, and they do this using technology where they can follow this artery line all the way down to your uterus and actually go to the blood source of those fibroids and block them. And so when, I went and had all of my um, procedures to see what was going on, how many fibroids were left, I actually have 4 fibroids remaining. So that meant overall I had 12, and this doctor left 4 of them in there. So anyway, I'm like, yes, sign me up. I want to do this. I want to, shrink these bad boys and just have a regular monthly routine. Okay. Well, this time last year, I was getting that procedure and there was a lot of anxieties. I was kind of worried, didn't know what to expect, but the specialists were very, very knowledgeable and helpful and let me know what to expect. They did tell me I was going to experience, a high level of pain once the fibroids blood supply is cut off. It begins to shrink them. So you do, endure some pain. What that pain looks like, they could not tell me because everybody is different. Well, long story short, the pain was super intense and I had to be put in the hospital for a minute to have medicine strong enough to take care of that. And so here we are a whole year later after the procedure, and I am good. I have predictable cycles. They are light. They last no longer than 4 to 5 days. And I feel my normal self. When I've had my checkups, you have, pretty much a 6-month checkup, then another follow-up after that. My uterus had shrunk down in size, which was evidence that the procedure actually did work, along with all the symptoms being gone. So I look back on everything that I went through last year, and I am extremely grateful. I'm extremely grateful that I was brave enough to do that procedure and, find a healthy opportunity to help me have a normal sense of life. Now, as far as the children go or extra kids, I don't know what's going to happen, but I will keep everyone posted with that journey. And, we'll just go from there. But I'm definitely grateful that I went through what I went through and I'm able to speak to it so that if you are a woman that is on the fence about it, not sure, or, just, not really wanting to do the hysterectomy, just know that other procedure is an option. And you don't have to just stick with your doctor. Now, this year, my insurance is changing. And so I'm going to switch doctors because there was a lot of things that this doctor did during the time that I just didn't really appreciate. And I'm the type of person, I'm very loyal naturally. So if I have a doctor, I'm kind of a creature of habit. I want to just go to that same doctor. And I did not feel appreciated for that fact. Like, I've been a patient and I have come to learn that, these doctors, although they may seem to be personable and helpful, a lot of them, it's not that serious for them. Like, you are a patient, they're going to give you what you need and that's it. If you decide to move on, there's no loyal connection back. So this is my second time kind of going through that because there was another instance when I was younger and I had a doctor, I was going to her for years and years, and situation occurred and I just felt like she saw me as a number. Like, she didn't, take in account that I've been, coming steadily year after year. And so That's what I'm looking for with a medical professional, that, I'm pretty much trusting you with my well-being. So I don't want to bounce around and go from doctor to doctor if I can avoid that. So anyway, that was my little, I just wanted to kind of give an update on that. And also, this is the anniversary month of me and my boyfriend. And man, it's been a phenomenal year with him, and just everything that we've experienced, and just how he's been extremely supportive and by my side, even through the roughest times that I endured last year, not only health wise, but just professionally and with my growth, with starting an endeavor like a podcast. Like, to have someone that is so just your cheerleader and behind you is such a blessing. And so here's the story time. I had something super, super special planned for us this month. Now, let me give you guys a little context. Back in about February, March, we were watching a movie, and there was this beautiful, like, on-site set that they were at. It looked like Hawaii or somewhere extremely exotic and tropical. And so me and him both love traveling, and we love the beach and we love mountains. And so we saw this and we're like, oh, that needs to be our next trip. Like, where is that? So I'm a big nerd. Wherever, even if I'm watching, a commercial and I see something, I'm like, take a picture, help me find this, Google, what is this place, right? So the movie, I can't remember the name we were watching, but they did the movie in Hawaii. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like the last time I was in Hawaii was in 22, and I went with some friends. We went to Maui. It was awesome. But I have been wanting to go back to see some of the other islands, because while we were there, people were like, oh, you should try this island. You should go here, just for the different experience. So while we're sitting there just kind of watching this movie and at the same time loosely planning this trip, we kind of set on it. And then me, I can't help myself. I am always going to go extra and do big. So I was like, well, maybe we can island hop a little bit. Now, once I was trying to tell him some things, he was like, I don't care, whatever you want to do. You just tell me what it is at the end. I was like, okay. And one of my favorite pastimes is planning trips. So anyway, I'm like working on this for a couple of days, and then I wind up talking to a girlfriend, and I was telling her about it, and she was like, oh my God, for that amount of money and like what you're trying to do, you should just go to Thailand. And she had went to Thailand the year before. So she was like, I can hook you up with my driver. I can, tell you some of the places and where I stayed. I was like, okay, yeah, Thailand is definitely on my bucket list. And I know it's on his too, because we've talked about even possibly living in Thailand. So, okay. Now, fast forward, we're in like April, end of March, early April. And I am like full go on, we're going to go to Thailand. Now, mind you, the last time me and him discussed anything, he told me, just plan it and I'll go. So he was just left on Hawaii, right? But then we had a conversation, and he wound up bringing up again, like, where are we going again? And I was like, well, I kind of switched it up. We're not going where we first mentioned. And he's like, oh, well, where are we going? And I was like, well, if you can guess, then I'll give you some more details, but I don't want to give you everything. Because by this time, I have been in contact with the driver. I've been getting, some more information about different activities and different, like, excursions we can do and different islands we can hop to. So I don't want to give anything away, right? Now, we're at this table and he begins to guess. He's like guessing all kind of little countries and islands. And then he's starting to kind of get warm. And so the next guess he says is Jamaica. And I don't say anything to like completely confirm that that's where we're going to go, but I make a face. And so he locks in on the face and he's like, oh, so we going to Jamaica? Oh, okay. I always wanted to go back. I've only been one time. Da 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 da. So I leave it at that because I was like, I do not want him to guess, right? Now, he is ecstatic. He's like, I'm so excited. All of the things. Mind you, I'm deep set on Thailand. Okay. And not only just Thailand, we're going to go to Phuket as well. And one of my coworkers, I'm telling her about it. And she's like, oh, I know a great tattoo artist. If you want to get some tattoos or whatever. So I'm like, oh, that would be cool. I got some tattoos from back in the day that can get covered up. So yeah, why not? Like, why not make this a whole adventure? Okay. So needless to say, I have planned a trip of a lifetime. And now I don't want it to come off like I was just doing way too grand, but it was going to be a very nice trip and it was only going to be a week. I wasn't going to do anything too crazy. But it was going to be memorable and I was looking so forward to it. Now, as the months are rolling and we're getting closer to summer, he's like trying to ask me questions like, when are we going? When are we leaving? What time is the flight? And I'm trying to be very discreet because I don't want him to get any ideas because remember, he thinks we're going to Jamaica. So I don't want to tell him that we have an overnight flight or that our flight is going to leave at 1:35 in the morning because it's going to be pretty much a day of hours that we're going to have to travel. So I'm just keeping it very, very loose and vague. Now, we lead up to our week to leave, which is our day to leave, which is July 12th. Now, I say July 12th because that's the day we were going to land in Bangkok, but our travel date was actually July 11th because we live in the Houston area. So we got to fly from Houston, then take a connecting flight in Taipei, Taiwan, and then fly to Bangkok. Okay. So the day is leading up, the week is leading up, and he's so excited. He's like, we're going to Jamaica. Da, da, da. He's still set on Jamaica. And mind you, within the time, I have been trying to drop some clues. And some of my friends have been trying to drop little clues here and there, talking about Thailand and stuff. But he has not caught it, okay? So now it's our day. My friend drops me off. They are all into it. They know that I'm going to be recording this. And the reveal is happening in just minutes, okay? As we are approaching the airport. We get to the airport. And in my mind, how I rehearse this, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to start my camera on my phone. And as we're walking up, it's going to be recording. And then I'll walk us right to Thai Airways and at their counter. And then he's going to be like, what are we doing here? And we'll go from there. But that's not what happened. I did start recording my phone and we're walking up. And I realized there's no Thai Airways counter. Instead, there's like another airline. So the gentleman that works at the airline, he's like coming up to me and I have to kind of pause him. I'm like, oh, just give me a second, right? And at that moment, I'm like, I got to tell him because he's going to start asking questions because where is the Jamaica? Where is the air for Jamaica? The airlines for Jamaica. So I tell the guy, hey, just give me a second. I'll be right with you. I turn to my guy and I say to him, hey, I have a confession to make. We are not going to Jamaica. And when I tell you, I couldn't read his face. I couldn't tell if he was surprised or confused, but he just had like a blank face, like, what is she about to tell me? And I go, we are going to Thailand. And his eyes locked in on me and he was like, are you serious? I said, yes, we are going to Thailand and you're being recorded. And he bust out laughing and he's like, are you serious? He's like, I've been thinking we're going to Jamaica. I've been telling everybody we're going to Jamaica. And I was like, I know. I was like, I didn't want to ruin the surprise. I said, and I didn't want you to know. So I had to keep it quiet. And he was like, well, have you been to Thailand? I said, no. And I said, that's the reason why I chose Thailand, because I wanted us to go somewhere we both could enjoy for the first time. And he just looked at me with this big smile. He gave me a huge kiss and was like, I love you so much. And we're just kind of marinating in that energy, y'all. Like, it's so good. So we're walking up and then he's like paying attention and he's like, oh my God, you're serious. We're going to Thailand. And I was like, yes, we are. So we walk up to the counter, we hand our passports. I mean, just cheesing ear to ear. And all of a sudden, once they get our passports and put our information in, there seems to be a little bit of confusion a bit. You know, I can kind of read it on their faces. And then they look at each other and there's like a little small discussion. And then they tell me, hold on one second. So I'm kind of looking at my guy like, I don't know what's going on. And so then they bring back like a manager and he's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. So you're flying through Thai Airways. Thai Airways is not an airline here with a representative that can help you. You would have to call them because your particular flight is going to Taipei. It's stopping in Taiwan for your connection flight. But currently there's a typhoon happening and there are no flights leaving. And we don't know when that will be rescheduled. So pretty much everything is scheduled. And if there was anything those flights are already booked. And I'm looking at him like he's speaking a whole total different language. Like, I'm like, excuse me? Because all I can think about is every little detail that I have planned on this trip and the surprise that just happened. And now you're telling me we're not going? So then he's like, why don't you call Thai Airways and see if once you get there, they can book you on a flight, like how that's going to look. So I called Thai Airways only to be redirected to call Expedia because I purchased my tickets and the package through them. For them to be like, well, we can't really give you any information because we can't pull up your account because I bought it through another third party of like a travel agency. Oh boy. So now I'm like trying to keep it together. And my boyfriend is, looking concerned but calm. And so I say, well, let me try to call Expedia and this other place and go from there. So I call, I'm on the phone for forever. And as I'm on the phone, we're still in the airport, mind you. And so I'm seeing all of the people go through their check-in process and it's starting to look really scarce. So I'm like, will we even be able to get on this flight? Is it even enough time for us to make it? So I finally call and get a hold of a different person who looks at the account, able to pull it up. And they're like, well, you can go ahead and fly there. And once you get to Taipei, just go to the counter and they'll book you another flight. And so I'm like, are you sure? And so yeah, that's all you have to do. So I get off the phone with them. I tell my boyfriend and he's like, well, did they give you like a confirmation? How do you know this is going to happen? So then I go and talk to one of the flight attendants and I ask her, I said, well, if we go, like, are we just going to be stuck in the airport because of the storm? And she goes, straight face, yes, exactly. She was like, nothing is leaving out of that airport. She was like, you'll be there for a couple of days. So I take a big deep breath and I tell my boyfriend, let's just go home. Let's just try to figure this out in the next few hours. Because mind you, it's 1:35 in the morning now. Okay. So we call my friends, tell them come pick us up, have to give them the heartbreaking news. They bring us home. We take a nap. I call back Expedia to see if they can, in some way or fashion, find us a flight leaving from Houston that goes another route that avoids Taipei. And ultimately, there is no option. There's nothing that can be done. And the representative is just like, we have to give you your money back. We can give you a refund due to the weather. And so I said, okay, because at that point, it's just acceptance, right? It's like, there's nothing else that I can do. The nature is doing its thing. So I go let my boyfriend know, and he's like, okay. And I go lay down, and I'm just thinking, shoot, like, I still want to go on a vacation, though. Like, this is something that we've been wanting to do, and, we need a vacation. So I look back on Expedia, and I say, you know what, maybe we should just go to Jamaica. And I look, and I go and wait until he wakes up. And once he gets up, I say, listen, I still want to go somewhere. If you're down, like, let's just go to Jamaica. Let's just see if we can find something. And he's like, all right. And so we look and we're able to find a flight that's leaving the next day, which is now the 12th, which would have been the day that we would have made it in Bangkok. And so we find a flight, we find a resort, and that was a whole ordeal because we're like booking it the day before. So we got to go through all the bank and customer service. It was just crazy, but we get it. Okay. We wake up the next day and we get on that plane and we land in Jamaica. And y'all, it was the best trip I have ever had. First of all, we did the same amount of time. We did Sunday to Sunday, a whole week. I'm not a fan of long trips. I'm a 3 to 4 day girl, like in and out. I'm ready to go. Okay. After 4 days, I need my own home. I need my own bed. I'm tired of looking at this. But we were in this little island having the time of our lives. And I felt like it was such a pivotal point in our relationship because although this was like a huge test on our patience and, just how to manage a high stress situation, we were still there for each other. And he was so comforting and he was so understanding. And he was like, this is not your fault, right? Like, you can't control the weather. And he expressed that he understood what my efforts were, right? And although we weren't going to Thailand, we were still going to be with each other. We were still going to experience a good time. And we did. And we did, y'all. So this has definitely been the best year. Although within the last year, I had all of the medical issues and other things going on that caused such a journey. It's like in the end, this trip and this time with him just really sealed the deal. So that was just a little story time I wanted to share and just encourage you that if you are possibly going through something that is beyond your control, or there's a season that you're going through right at this moment that you're not understanding why everything feels like it's just either not connecting or it's falling apart or things are just not working out how they normally do, don't lose the faith. Like, muster through that storm. Get to the other side of it, because the other side is going to be calm. It's going to be peaceful. It's going to be reassuring. And that's literally how storms are. Like, when we look at our lives as seasons and we recognize the ups and the downs that we're going to have, it's like that's what should motivate us to not give up when times get hard. Because I'm going to tell y'all, last year was so incredibly difficult for me. And there was so many times I just was like, why is this happening? And I wanted to give up. I felt like I had hit rock bottom at some points. And I just have to say, it makes you stronger. Like, it builds your character. It helps you be the voice for other people to tell them, like, yeah, you can do it. You can. So if you're listening to this right now, I hope this story made you smile. I hope it made you, have a little encouragement and some motivation, because we are all living this life and everybody's journey is so different. Everyone's goals and the things that we dream about, go for them. I stepped out on complete faith with this podcast. And listen, I don't have a lot of followers right now. I don't have a lot of people listening and tuning in, and that's okay. I can't let that discourage me, because what I want to share, what I want people to know is my experiences and how my experiences help me grow and help me get to that next point. So, ain't that something? Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, have a good evening.